I'm thinking about this idea of taking on your community and taking a social kind of prioritization with how you develop your purpose and your mission, or like what you're going to do with your agency. And I'm reminded of my own experience of, you know,
Phails at philosophy.
wanting to and making large strides to stop being a software engineer and start doing something different.
Mm-hmm.
And I parallel that with the interview I had on Friday with a transgender woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about both of our experiences when we talk to this idea with the people in our community. And, a lot of them said, no, you need to get another software job. You need to stay in this thing. You've got something that works. You need to keep doing this thing that works. You can't change and do something else. Or you need to do it while you do this other thing. You need to find something that takes a majority of your time that pays you a good amount of money. And you need to do this on the side. This whole and I'm not really doing that. I've time and time again said and I don't know why. I've seen myself, if you saw a meter, I've seen myself been influenced, but I've never done the thing. I haven't yet done the thing of, look, I'm going to start looking for another software job. I've maybe gone on LinkedIn or did some small thing, and then I was like, man, I don't want to do this. And then the meter came back. And when I think about the transgender woman and her talking to her, her mom or the people in her life, there was this, this, are you sure you're not just gay and you stay a man? Do you really need to do all these things? And I maybe have this romanticized, what is it? This idea of they don't want me to break free of the monotony that they themselves live in and live this independent, kind of more adventurous life, because that has them question the.
Or they just love you and want you to be safe.
That's probably more likely, but
Right.
That's not as sexy to me.
But neither are important, right? And this is what it comes down to for me. What's important is your agency. And I think part of it is like, yeah, when we get back to this, I'm just a friggin' religious fanatic, right? And there's just like, in all I've experienced in life, nothing seems more sacred than those moments when you have that clarity about what you should do.
Yeah.
And you follow it.
But it's freaking hard.
It is hard and it's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Because someone might have a clarity that like what they should do is go shoot up a neighborhood, right?
Yeah, or like
and
convince a whole nation to, attack the world.
Right, exactly. There are these moments of clarity. They're no less sacred to me. Like, let me make that clear. Even though I believe that like they should be stopped in those moments, because
there's sacred moments of clarity where you're like, this is my destiny.
Right. Because I also think that like we live in a community of agents, and if your notion of agency leads you to actions that ultimately rob that agency from others, then you should be stopped. However wonderful that is for you.
Well,
right.
Let's go into this idea of robbing agency.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what you're meaning is decrease the amount of things, because we never have infinite choice points. We never have infinite choice. So you're declining their choices, because even if one is in prison, they have agency.
Right. Well, and yes, and it's
you're decreasing
more about
the choices they can make.
That impulse to tell you that I know better than you about what's right for you. That's the thing that I want to resist. Even though
we need to do that about body, about health, about nutrition, about diet, about the ways we live life. Aren't there ways we can get into a rut of doing drugs every day or things that deteriorate our body, our mind?
Let me think about this in terms of how I teach writing.
Okay.
Because I teach writing through peer work, right? When I teach writing,
peer review
is a central part of how I approach that, because my experience is it produces better writing, but it doesn't produce better writing if you go about that by saying, okay, these people have advice for me, I need to do that thing. it works as a way of improving your writing if you're like, I need to be open to these
Influence.
influence because it gives me insight into the world I wouldn't have without it.
How do other people think?
But at the end of the day, I need to make the choice about what I'm doing with my writing. I need to make a choice about what, and I emphasize that again and again with my students, that like, even when I give you feedback as your professor, this is your writing.
Because won't the masses just keep us in keep making the same model, keep making the same structure? Don't we need someone that says, I'm not going to listen to anybody. I'm going to create this art and it's going to be different and new, and that's what's going to be exciting.
I don't know if I need to be in that narrative. I don't care about exciting. I care.
What would peer reviews said about William Burroughs? Like Naked Lunch.
I mean, Burroughs has this sort of fantasy that he's just this crazy out there writer who's like Operation Rewrite, like, yeah, whatever. He's totally part of a peer culture of, like, he is the definitive mid 20th century peer writing culture in the beat culture. He's a product of that. He's
not an
from
example.
Ginsberg. Like, I just think any example.
Who would be? Who would be someone that says, like, I'm gonna shut myself off and still create a masterpiece?
The genius who like is going to get, this is just this sort of 19th century Nietzschean fantasy of the Übermensch who rejects the crowd.
Yeah.
Cool. It's kind of toxic.
You think we need, and
I think we need a little more humility and a focus on community.
I'll say this,
right? In the way we sort through things.
In this endeavor, making videos, I'm watching other people's videos. I'm looking at the analytics and seeing, what brings more views. And I think that's me getting some sort of peer review, because with everybody who clicks on one of these videos and I see, they only watch for 3 minutes of a 9-minute video, like, what's happening around minute 3? How do I get retention? How do we tell a story? How do we keep people engaged? And I'm cautious of being authentic, doing something that I believe in, and also have a desire to, we need to make it more provocative. We need to, how do we grab them and keep them through some, psychological, not trickery, but rulery.
It's trickery, man. You're engaging.
They're rules. There's psychological tools that keep people kind of. So what we say is, like, at the end of this video, we're gonna tell you guys whether it's.
Yeah.
And they wait till the end to see it.
So, some of them, and at least in aggregate, right? You're dealing with populations, not with individuals,
right?
When you're doing that, when you're talking about audience.
So this is a question of peer review.
Kind of right. Like, it's not that you're going to keep them. It's going to be that you're going to keep 70% of them, but 30% of them make the choice to turn away.
But 70% is more than 20%, which means
But that doesn't.
I get the ability to influence more people. And with my agency, I want to demonstrate authenticity, vulnerability. I want to have discussions around, philosophy and self-help and improving.
Sure.
And I want people to watch those.
Yeah. But coming back to your moment, like software engineer versus this other thing I'm doing,
mm-hmm.
Like, you can tell that story about yourself as the masses were trying to keep me down, a slave to the grind. It was all about rejecting community and becoming my individual authentic.
The Noam Chomsky wage slave.
Right. But that's not what you did. Like, if you look at what you're doing, you're not rejecting community. You're embracing it.
I'm inviting it for sure.
Right. You're going and saying, I want to open myself up to the influence of these other people in this production community, this community of people who are having these kinds of conversations, the people I interview. So that's not really breaking away from the crowd. That is really this fundamental moment of recognition that what I'm doing isn't working for me.
Yeah.
Isn't the thing I need to be doing. Coming back to my experience with my friends who have been either who are transitioned or transgender or
mm-hmm.
going through transgender, there's a whole way we try to talk about the experience of transitioning like it's not their choice, right? Like, if it's your choice,
Like it's a biological
right,
thing
it's
within me. I'm a
biological,
woman.
and
I'm just making my outside reflect the
right,
inner kind of biology.
right, and maybe there's some truth to that, and maybe that is rooted in a fundamental recognition of who you are. It never has mattered to me, right? It's never mattered to me any more than this person who I love
Yeah.
is telling me this is who they are. If this is who they are because they made a decision one day, that's who I want to be. If this is who they are because biologically they were led there, if this is who they, whatever is that, my duty is to respect that fundamental choice about who they are and who they want to be in the world,
Not make it about
and
you
not make it about me or a story or
or
a
like
theory
or protecting some way of life,
or protecting some way of life.
protecting something.
Yeah, because it's not my agency. That's it. I mean, those are all things maybe I should probably wrestle with if these are questions that come up for me. But when someone else comes to me, and yeah, if they want
You
to
accept them because it's about relationship.
exactly, and
It's about
it's about, and relationship at the end of the day is about, I think, respecting the fundamental agency of the other,
yeah.
their ability to make their own choices, their ability to influence me and help me make my own choices, and being caught up in that web
Probably
of
scared of that
relationship.
influence sometimes. That's probably, I wonder if that's where the rejection comes. It's like I'm scared of that level of or that type of agency choice point.
Oh,
Like
sure,
because
because
that means that's open to me.
right, and you can also experience undue influence. I mean, we've all had relationships where we're like, wow, I let myself get caught up in
Yeah, I remember
that,
you talked about a
and you lose
relationship where
yourself
you
in
yeah,
that. Right, yeah,
and I
that's
have too.
right. And so there's something there about what the boundary of that between me and you is, and that's interesting to explore. But it's messy, and I mean, I think sometimes ways of talking about that are primarily theoretical analytic are hard to get at, but we can explore those notions of agency. We can explore, like, where I find it, we can explore those is in narrative, is in storytelling.
Yeah.
Like, we can explore, because when you're telling a story, you're not talking about ideas. Even if you're talking about a fictional character, you're talking about something you're posing as an actual agent. A character in a novel is something that drives the plot of that novel, is
Mm-hmm.
something that shapes the plot of that novel through their choices.
Right.
So we can explore that through storytelling in a way I just don't think we can through analytic,
Maths.
yeah, frameworks. So yeah, I tend to think that when we get to free will, community, narrative, there are these other places that are about where we find a saturation of agency around us that are better for exploring than traditional analytic Western philosophy.
Mm, that makes sense.